Hi, so today we're filming my, let's reposition my camera. I feel very high. Is that a bit better? Yes. So today I'll be filming my September wrap up. I read 8, I have my little notebook here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a half books this month. I'll be talking about the half at the end and in my TBR for next month. So let's talk about them. So first off this month I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. This is book 4 in the Throne of Glass series. I don't have it on me. I left it at my parents' house so my mum could read it because she is absolutely keen on this series. This is fantasy, which you've probably heard of. If you haven't heard of it, you've been living under a rock. And it follows Celaena Sardothien, who is an assassin, and I can't talk about this book with any plot detail because spoilers for every book that's come before it because they've progressed so crazily. But this is amazing. This is like one of my favourite series and just praise. This one was just as good as all the others, if not better. And I'm glad that we've finally got some like progress and I feel like something's actually, like I feel a little bit more solid in my soul about what's happening in the world. I'm very excited to see what happens in the next one, which I'm probably waiting till next year. Of course we will. It'll be like this time next year that the next one will come out. But I'm very excited, so I'm keen. 5 stars, obviously. It's amazing. Go read it if you haven't already. Then next I read Voice of Gods by Eleanor Herman. This is a novella that comes before Legacy of Kings, which is one of the other books I've read this month that I'll talk about in a minute. Voice of Gods was okay. I think I ended up giving it a 2.5, 3 stars. I didn't mind the plot. The plot was actually really interesting, but the writing was weird and I couldn't get over it. It's supposed to, this is historical fiction following like the series itself follows the teenage life of Alexander the Great, but this is like a background to that, so it doesn't really follow Alexander the Great. But it was told in third person present tense, and third person present tense is difficult to pull off anyway, especially in multiple perspectives, which this had, and it just like, it felt wrong for historical fiction. I don't know why, but it didn't sit with me right. And also I think some of the pacing was a bit dodgy. Like things would happen and I wouldn't feel the build up that I would expect. Like, I don't even know. Things would happen and I'd be like, where did that come from? And other things would happen and I'd be like, that was a huge build up for nothing. And I just don't know. Its pacing was weird. Its writing was weird, but the plot was amazing. I didn't know how to feel, which is the same story with the actual book. Let's get to that now. Technically I didn't read it next in the month, but let's talk about Legacy of Kings, seeing as we're on this roll. So this is the book itself, book 1, in the Blood of Gods and Royals. I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 3 stars. The plot was great, like, amazing, but the writing just, I struggled. I really struggled. Like, there was one time where a character died who was like a main character. There was a conversation going on between the main character and another moderately, like, they were named, they'd had conversations before, it wasn't just a random person dying. And it just happened. There was no build up. It just kind of like conversation, drop dead. There was no build whatsoever. I was so confused. And at other times, I'd be blurring along on this mediocre plot line that if I was writing it, I would have included barely. It was hardly relevant, but a lot of time we spent on that, whereas something that was much more relevant was kind of skimmed over. I don't know. I feel like this could have done with a major edit just to fix up writing gaps. Which is really disappointing because the plot was amazing and so well historically referenced, but I couldn't get past the writing. I really couldn't. So this was 3 stars for me. I probably will check out the rest of the series just because I really want to see where the plot's going. And it left on not a full cliffhanger, but kind of a cliffhanger. And I want to see what the heck is going on in this series, because this is like a fantasy version of Alexander the Great. And I want to know where those fantasy elements are going. So I'm probably going to pick up the next book in this. But hopefully the writing's a bit better, otherwise I'm going to really struggle. So the actual next book I read was The Anatomy of Curiosity, which is written by Brenna Yovanoff, Tessa Gratton, and Maggie Stiefvater. This is 3 short stories that analysed and critiqued the way we write fiction. It had a lot of so the way the Curiosities work, this series of books, is it presents the story and then annotations. And this one in particular was talking about the formation of a story. So the 3 girls, the 3 writers, all have different ways of approaching a story, and it kind of analysed that, and it was really cool. It really got me back into the feel of writing again, like wanting to think complexly about what I was writing, which was really fun. I loved the first story the most, which was Maggie Stiefvater's story, but I loved all of them. They were amazing. Definitely check this out. It's just released, or just about to release. I had an arc from NetGalley, thank you to them, and I gave this 4 or 5 stars. I think it was 4.5. This was so good, so good. Then I picked up Solitaire by Alice Oseman. This is book 1. No, it's a standalone contemporary, and oh my god, if you haven't read this, definitely try and find yourself a copy. This is amazing. Alice wrote this book when she was 17. She's my age now, and this blew my mind. It was so relatable the whole time. I was like, this is me! This is me! I fell in love with the characters, in particular Charlie and Tori and Michael, and I can't even. 5 stars all over. This follows Tori, who has a blog and is very apathetic to the world, and it's kind of her story of growing into her, growing past that teenage apathy. It's hard to explain. Set in England, what are they called? Prep schools? Is that what it's called in the UK? I can't remember. But most relatable thing ever. And there's a prank thing going on called Solitaire, and it's just so good. It's one of the most relatable contemporaries I've ever read. Amazing. So then, of course, I read the sequel novella, which is, I think it's a companion novella, kind of, which is called Nick and Charlie, and follows Charlie, who's Tori's younger brother, and his boyfriend Nick, and my feels. I gave this 5 stars. I gave Solitaire 5 stars, but I also gave Nick and Charlie 5 stars. And I rarely give novellas 5 stars, but I just had so many feels. The whole time I was screaming at my iPad being like, communicate! Communicate! And I had a lot of feelings. This follows Nick and Charlie, obviously, and Nick is about to head off to university, but Charlie's a bit younger, and he's going to be left behind at high school, and it's just adorable, and I just got a lot of feels. It was so cute and sweet, and I wanted to just crowd both Nick and Charlie up in this huge hug and never let them go. It was amazing. Amazing. Also, follow Alice on Tumblr. She has a Tumblr. If I remember, I'll put the link below. Otherwise, you can Google it, because it's available to Google. and I follow her and we blog from her all the time because she's amazing. Then I read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a adult dystopian following, no, apocalyptic, not dystopian, it's apocalyptic. Following the end of the world from a flu-like plague. They call it it's the something flu? I can't remember. Georgia flu. The Georgia flu, because it started in Georgia. And it follows both just before the collapse, during the collapse, and then like 10 years after the collapse of civilization from this flu. And a musical theatre troupe that are going around trying to bring some like joy back into the survivors of this big thing. And oh my god, this took me a few days to read. It was intense. At other times slow, and it was like, because it's got a lot of character building and stuff like that, but overall I really enjoyed it. I gave it like 4.5 stars. Amazing. Great. One of a really interesting look on apocalyptic novels. Like often teen apocalyptic novels are super adventure based. This was much more like societally, politically based, and I loved it. Yes. Read this, it's really good. And finally, I read The Fiery Trial by Cassandra Clare, which is this month's Shadowhunter Academy novella. This follows Simon, obviously, same as always, and I loved this one. I gave it 5 stars because I loved the interaction between Simon and Clary. And also Magnus was there, and Jem was there, and these are things that tick my boxes. The one thing that confused the heck out of me was that they were kind of involved in a ritual, not a ritual, like a thing without their consent, which was weird. The whole time I was like, what are you doing? No! But it worked out all for the good. I'm really excited to see how this ties into the future stuff, because it hinted at some things that I'm really keen for. There's only 2 more Shadowhunter Academy novellas left, and I'm really excited because one of them has a lot of Magnus and Alec, and I am all there for that because Magnus and Alec are my jam. 5 stars. So those were the books that I read in the month of, one more. Let me grab it. I am also halfway through Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This was my RibStat TBR. If you noticed, I haven't really read much of my RibStat TBR. In fact, I've read half of this. It's because I got really busy. We had guests over. By guests, I mean my housemate's girlfriend stayed for a week, which is amazing because she's lovely. Claire's my fave. And so we were off doing things like going to the zoo and playing mini Monopoly, which we call Monopoly. So I didn't really get a chance to read that much. I failed, but I did read half of Ready Player One. I will be finishing this in October, so you'll see it again in my TBR, which I'm going to be filming next. I'm really enjoying it so far, but obviously I didn't finish it. I kind of was just reading like a little bit every night, which is very hopeless of me. But I'm kidding. I just burped. But I'm getting there. So hopefully I'll finish this very soon, especially seeing as my housemate is leaving me for 2 weeks to go visit Claire. He's going back to Adelaide, like to a different city, like hours away where Claire lives, for 2 weeks because he's finished uni, and so I'm going to be by myself because I still have exams, which means I'm going to have a chance to read. I just lost my bookmark. What the hell? No. So I'll hopefully get a chance to read a lot, so you'll see that in my TBR, because my TBR is going to be huge for next month. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you've read any of these books, comment down below and talk with me about them. Especially Solitaire, because I'm like all over that at I will see you soon with another video soon. That sounds like Reagan's ending. I don't normally do that. Sorry. Bye.